What is going on, Charles Botensten? So we got a really good review last time that we talked about the subject, but it was more along the lines of social media. Now we're going to be talking about the smartphone addiction, which is this guy. Okay, everyone is addicted to this. And listen, it's weird. So I have. We'll start with this. My opinion is, it's first of all, I'm thankful that there are people addicted, not because of personal harm, but because that separates yourself, okay? When people go to the gym, that separates themselves because they're pushing themselves out of a bed that they feel comfortable into a gym, into an environment, into a class, into biking, into running, into hiking, and doing something that a lot of people are not doing. It's like when people make a lot of sales calls, when people start a business, when people do something that's a little extraordinary, they feel proud of themselves because they're able to accomplish something that a lot of people are not able to do, myself included. When I walk onto an elevator and when there's silence and you have 8 people that are standing there and I'm going to make you uncomfortable, what do? Nobody can sit there in their thoughts. That is the addiction, okay? That's really what it boils down to. You are literally trained from a baby. If your parents are doing it wrong, you're trained from a baby. You know, I brought up the one with my cousin, and she is, she's a young girl. She's under 10, and she can't sit still and whatever and things like that. And she's going to see someone, and I'm just thinking, it's not her. It's the training, it's the mindset, you have to slowly wean off the addiction. And first of all, so going back to what I first said, which is if you're able to rise above the people that are addicted, you're already winning. Okay, you're already winning in life because people can't be alone in silence around strangers in a closed environment like an elevator, and then they all pull out their phone and they all look at it and they're not even doing anything. They literally just turn it on and they're like, "Oh, nothing has happened." But at least for that 2 seconds of pulling out my phone, I was not uncomfortable standing on an elevator, unless you're sitting on an elevator. The biggest thing is, that's the first thing is, once you can rise above this, you're doing something that the majority of people are not doing. Number one is you have to recognize you have an addiction. You have to recognize it. You have to, anything. There's this whole movement of no fap, which is for women, it's men pleasuring themselves. I don't know if it's an addiction for women. There's alcoholics. There's, you eat yourself into depression, or you're depressed and then you eat, or you're depressed and you drink. And really where depression comes from is that depression comes from a lack of faith in the future. That you don't feel that the future is going to be bright. So you're like, fuck it. Why am I going to just, what am I to look forward to? Why go to the gym? Why not eat? Or what? If you see a really bright future, and I'll give you two examples. There was a movie called or a documentary called That Sugar Movie. I think, clever title. And in there, they went up to this guy who was overweight. He was in his 50s or 60s, and middle of nowhere, America. And they were just interviewing people all across America, just thinking what's your relationship to sugar? And the guy behind the counter was talking about it, blah blah blah. And he never even thought about it. And it was funny because they then went back to him about 6 or 7 months later and they said, holy cow, his skin cleared up, he didn't look as old, he looked a lot better, more trim, a little bit more fit. And they said, what happened? And he said, I wanted to be there when my daughter graduated high school. I wanted to be there when she got married. That was his why. So he literally didn't see a reason why sugar, there was no bad relationship with sugar. It's the same thing with your iPhone addiction, is that the reason you go on your iPhone is being alone with your thoughts. You have to be comfortable with being alone with your thoughts, okay? That's the biggest thing, is that if you can't sit there, people can talk about meditation and things like that. That's the biggest part of meditation, is being able to accept what comes into your mind. And this is just literally the base layer to success. The base. Because on top of that, it's when the thoughts come in, what do? When they're positive thoughts, do you think I'm those thoughts, but I'm not those negative thoughts? Or do you say, which is the right way, which is I am the positive and negative thoughts, but either way, I can handle it? That's really what it is. Vulnerability is saying, I have positive and negative. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned this year in self-development. A lot of people, they go around and they say everything is positive, everything's beautiful. Okay, well, what about when you fuck up? What about a bankruptcy? What about a divorce? What about when your spouse dies, or your child is on drugs, or you fail a class, or you get kicked out of school? Like, what about then? It's not too positive then. Oh, everything is going to be amazing. It's like you have to see reality for how it is. Okay, I'm overweight. Or in this case, I'm addicted to my cell phone. I am addicted to my cell phone. You have to admit it. That's step one in AA. That's the step one in anything. It's like you have to say, okay, I'm bankrupt. My relationship sucks. I don't know how to start a company, but I want to know. I want to learn. So number one is, that as little as she is, the parents have to accept, okay, negative, my daughter is addicted to cell phones or entertainment or stimulation. Stimulation in general, that could be a TV, that could be a movie, that could be social media, that could be anything on an electronic device. Number one is you have to say, I'm addicted. Number two is you have to say, what am I addicted to? You have to admit it, and then you have to say, what am I addicted to? Is it social media? Is it movies? Is it Netflix? Is it mail? Is it porn? Is it like, what on your phone are you addicted to? So what did I do? No shit, I deleted those apps. And then the ones that I need, so Facebook is up here in a folder. I have to go, and then it's not even here. I have to then swipe, and it's right up there, okay? So I make it hard, and because of that, and because I have something called Facebook Eradicator on my computer, on my laptop. Because I have Facebook Eradicator, that's a game changer. And then you'll notice you don't miss anything. You don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. You don't care. You like people are like, hold on. So you don't watch the news? You don't like social media? Like, by the way, my life is so much better. It is way more happier. I was literally on Facebook like, I don't know, what was it, yesterday? I think I was on Facebook for like an hour. Maybe not that long, like 45 minutes. I can't believe how many negative posts there were. Like, I'm like, this is, and you know what I did? I then took that when I took a shower, I was like thinking about it. Then when I was going to sleep, I was still thinking about it. It was like, holy shit. My attention residue was like unbelievable. Like, because I saw this thing that like literally it resonated and it just kept on going throughout my day. It's like, number one, admit it. Number two is, what is your addiction? Is it dating? Like I said, I don't know what it is. Is it like swiping left and right on Bumble, on Tinder, which I haven't had any success, to be honest. And the biggest thing is you have to eliminate it, okay? So for me, Instagram, I'm assuming that's what everyone's looking at. For me, when you make it challenging or you eliminate the thing, say news or CNN or Fox or whatever it is, whatever you look for, when you eliminate it, you're like, you go to your phone and you're like, oh, I don't have it. I don't have that app anymore. I deleted that app. And that's going to be, depends how addicted you are. Like, I didn't grow up, my first smartphone was my first cell phone was in college. And it was a shitty flip phone, and it didn't even store any numbers, okay? That's how old I am. No, that's how shitty the phone was. So that was the biggest thing, is that, like, I didn't grow up with this. But if you grew up with this, it's like an alcoholic. And the reason is that alcoholism in my family, there were some alcoholics in my family, so I know, and that's why it's very personal, is that if you're an alcoholic for 40 years, it is extremely challenging. They say it takes up to 10% of that amount of time. So if you've been addicted to your cell phone for 5 years, it's gonna take at least 5 months of you thinking about it almost every single day. You even, like, your heart rate goes up and things like that. Like, there is nothing more liberating than being able to walk around and actually enjoy shit. The third thing I could say is that I've eliminated music. I don't listen. I also live in New York City, so like if shit goes down, like terrorism or whatever, I want to be able to defend myself. Like I was on a subway once and people started like exiting the train, and it was like, like what's going on? So like it's like, one is for my safety, and number two is like I want to be able to walk around and not need stimulation. I don't need music. I don't need to be entertained. I'm fine. And when you get to that place, I can tell you right now, you can really roll in life because you don't need anything to be happy. You don't need music to walk down the street. You don't need, like, you can literally get into your car, roll down the window, and just enjoy the fucking summer. Can you just enjoy the weather? We literally live in the best time, the healthiest time, the safest time, regardless of what the news says. Look at the statistics. The highest birth rate of living, the longest range of people living, the safest, the least amount of murders, the wealthiest, the healthiest. You just got to look at the statistics and not what is given to you, not what society tells you, okay? So let me just go over the steps. Number one is you have to admit it. Number two is you have to delete it. You have to eliminate it. If you put alcohol or shitty food in your house, you will consume it. If you have a TV in your house, you will watch it. If you get the newspaper, you will read the bad headlines. If you have apps on your phone, you will go to them if it's on your phone. You have to delete those things, okay? And this is the thing. If you're a single guy or gal, how about you get off of Tinder and Bumble and you go out and you say, hi, I'm interested in you, all right? Oh, you're not? Awesome, okay. But guess what? Maybe you're gonna meet someone that's cool as shit, like I do all the time. I'm not a Superman. I just literally reverse engineer. Okay, and you're talking to a guy that was very addicted to TV because I didn't have cable growing up, and then when I moved into the city, I was addicted to TV. Addicted. For 2 years of my life, probably 3 years of my life, that's all I watched. The worst shows, The Jersey Shore, The Real Housewives, $1 Million Listings, all these shows, all the reality shows. I didn't even care. I was just like, it's TV. I was there with my buddy and we would just drink. And my life was terrible. It was terrible. Like, I thought I was fine, but I wasn't. Deep down inside, I wasn't happy. I knew I had more inside of me. I'm not a superhero, okay? Like, I'm just a normal person that said, I'm addicted to something. How do I eliminate this addiction? Like, how do I wean myself off of it? It's not going to be overnight. The only person that I know, like, yes, there's obviously stories of this out there. The only story that I know is my buddy in college. He was addicted to smoking at least a pack and a half a day. And he was smoking for many years, since high school. So that was at least 5-6 years. And he was addicted. Obviously a pack and a half in college, and it was only going to get worse. You could hear it in his breath. He was always sick. He was hawking loogies. It just overall, just like you could see his health just dwindling. You know what he did? He got his wisdom teeth pulled. And they said that because they pulled his wisdom teeth, that he wasn't able to eat food, is that he had to eat out of a straw or like eat liquids or whatever it was. Or no, this is what it was. He had to consume liquids, but not through a straw. And guess when you smoke, you go, and they said you can't do that. And literally cold turkeyed, stopped smoking. Not weaned off it, no patch, nothing, just cold turkeyed. And guess what? I see him now, he's successfully running his dad's company, which is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Not running it, but he's up there. Hundreds of millions of dollars. He's got a kid, he's married, and he looks great. One decision. Just make one decision. One app. Eliminate it. Just get rid of it. You don't need it. We did completely fine for millennia before 2007 when the iPhone was introduced. We did completely fine. Number one, you have to admit it. Number two is, how do I get rid of it? So with the TV and with the alcohol, I said, if I buy the alcohol and it's in my house, I will consume it. If I have a TV, I will consume it. So guess what? I got rid of both. The iPhone came out. I started with this. So I started getting rid of all the apps that were unnecessary, okay? So I just literally have one page and 2 folders, and that's it. One of the folders is literally just photography on like making your pictures better. So I don't even go in there. I'm not even good at it. And then the third thing is eliminating music, because that stimulation, that constant stimulation, just enjoy shit. That's really what it comes down to. I know this video is a lot longer, but this is one of the biggest things that is gonna have to have an And society's very good at that. Society goes really extreme, say two things. One is health. Health has went very extreme, and now it's going back the other way where people are understanding it, gluten, vegan, things like that. iPhone is up there, and people are noticing that they're addicted to it. So you either conquer it, like health and other addictions, food, alcohol, porn, your smartphone, dating, whatever the case is, just laziness, by just doing one thing, just every day. Just go on it one time and that's it, okay? So have an awesome day, and the last thing I'll say is just use it as a tool. That's it. That's all. I don't use it as a consumer. I use it as a tool. I use Instagram as an audience projector. I don't consume, I just release. So have an awesome day. Subscribe to the channel, and obviously we're going to be having seminars in New York City, so sign up. The most recent one that's going to be coming in is in September, and obviously if this is after September 12th, 5:30 to 7, 1460 Broadway here in New York City. The link is below. We're obviously going to be having other ones, and then they're only going to be getting better. I'm also going to be doing a daily vlog, and I don't have a name, so you're going to really have to help me out on that, so please help me out. Do I have to say that twice? Have an awesome day. Talk to you guys soon.